It's 1965 Brooklyn, New York. I was working late hours. Late hours meant lonely hours. It was a rainy Wednesday night on this particular day. In my line of work there are times when it's slow. And it was slow that day. Too slow even. Walking through the bustling streets of Brooklyn as the rain lashes down. It's the only feeling I get that I'm still human. It's comforting in a way. When the wind picks up, sometimes you can miss the smell of the rain. Sometimes you can smell the silence in the world. On this particular night, I got a radio from my partner. I sigh reluctantly and search them for any forms of identification. The male was only 19, the female 18. So young and full of life. What could have turned their luck so sour? 2 BDs at the river. I wish I knew what I was in for. I get into my car and drive down there. The only thing breaking the deafening silence is the sound of the rain washing away any semblance of peace. I arrive at the riverside, and my partner is waiting there already. I put on my gloves and approach the scene. I was lucky that I didn't have enough appetite to eat dinner earlier. Because if I had, it wouldn't have stayed down. 2 people, a male and a female with grave injuries to their upper bodies and heads. I sigh reluctantly and search them for any forms of identification. The male was only 19, the female 18. So young and full of life. What could have turned their luck so sour? I pull out an evidence bag and place their IDs and wallets into separate bags and then continue. I then go to my car and radio in the need for medical assistance. I sat on the hood of my car next to my partner, looking to the darkness of night only illuminated by the silver hue of the moon. It's a false beauty. There is no beauty in the world. The numbness was strangling. The EMTs arrive in their truck and soon gather the young souls into the back and scurry off. My partner and I gather what evidence we can and get into our respective cars before heading back to the station. One thing is on my mind during the car ride. I'm gonna find whoever took those kids' lives. Days went by. I would spend long nights looking at the evidence left behind. A yellow work glove and a lighter. We have the fingerprints but no suspects to match them to. I go through the files of the information other detectives on the case collected from family and friends. Something catches my eye. Just days before their bodies were found, the 2 victims, who were confirmed to be in a relationship, were said to be unpopular by their fellow classmates on their university campus. It's a lead, but it's not concrete. I lean back in my chair and sleep. My sleep is restless and light. Eventually in the morning I freshen up and exit the station. The sunlight is bright and blinding. It almost seemed foreign in a way. I get into my car and head to their university's campus. I arrive on site and exit my vehicle. The blinding sunlight is nothing compared to the smiling faces around. How can anyone be happy when lives have been lost? Alas, I know it's not their fault, nor is it their burden to bear. I begin my walk around and talk to people who knew them. A lot of superficial responses mixed with uncaring denial. While in a conversation, a detail catches my attention. They were both in theater club. This isn't much of a lead, but it's the only thing I've got here. I make my way into the theater department and find the person that runs it. I speak to some of the campus staff and they give me the name. Mr. Franklin is who I'm looking for. I walk through the bustling halls of the university campus. They reek of hope. Something I lost long ago. Eventually, I find him. Mr. Franklin. A man in his 40s and definitely fits the bill. We speak for a while and I eventually get a detail about what was going to be an upcoming school play. The two victims were set to play the leading roles. Once I learned this detail, I start asking about understudies. Mr. Franklin confirms there were some that suddenly dropped out of the school play 2 days after the victims were found. Give me names, damn it. I get the names of the two, and then Mr. Franklin informs me those two weren't there that day. I shake his hand and head to the registrar's office. A flash of my badge later and I have addresses. My saunter back to my car is clouded by the image of the scene that night. I wish I could unsee it. The drive to the first house is full of dread. The cloudy Brooklyn sky never ceases to bring down my mood. I arrive eventually and get out of my car, walking up to the house and knocking on the door. No answer. I knock once again, and nothing. I go to the window and see an empty house. Was I too late? I swiftly make my way back to my car and hurry over to the next house. I arrive and throw open my car door and stride to the front door before knocking and barking my credentials. After a few moments, a young man opens the door and identifies himself. The male understudy. I ask him what he knows and it's the classic denial story. I've heard more than I love you. I don't buy it and take him down to the station. The car ride is loud, yet for some reason the noise wasn't resonating. As if he wasn't saying anything at all. We make it to the station and I set him in a cold room. I then sit in the chair across from his. He begins by denying. But this time it's not just lies. He says he didn't like the victims, but he would never go out of his way to hurt them. Then he lets slip the process of choosing who would get roles at the university. It nearly made me lose my morning coffee. Degeneracy is the softest way I can put it. I then ask the male understudy why his counterpart wasn't home. She hasn't been seen since she dropped out 2 days ago. For good measure I match the fingerprints from the lighter. Not a match. And then the bombshell. The male understudy says Mr. Franklin enjoys gardening and always uses yellow work gloves. Surely he's not a smoker? And of course, he is. I take the handcuffs off of the male understudy and storm out of the station, flying into my car. I weave through the busy Brooklyn traffic, leaving nothing up to chance. I arrive at the campus once again and hurry into the theater department where Mr. Franklin is waiting with a gun in his hands. My hands cautiously go up and Mr. Franklin goes on his monologue that is more familiar than my own children's voices. He tells me that he was the one that took the victims' lives because the understudies had begged for the roles and were willing to do anything to get them. He opened the window for 2 people and slammed shut the door for 2 others. Is this how it will end? Though? A gun pointed at me with no hope of escape? Does justice exist in this cruel world? I close my eyes and accept my fate, before the gun jams, allowing me to charge forward and begin a tussle with Mr. Franklin. We struggle for a long time before I get the upper hand and subdue this murderous mentor. I take him to my car and, well, everything after that was a blur. Trials, testimonies, and trauma is the only way to summarize the next few days. But one thing on my mind persisted. What happened to the female understudy? She started a YouTube channel to play Wizard 101. And her name is Zerob.